You know, what if I told you that a professional-grade music studio could fit right in your pocket? And I don't mean some little toy or a simple sketch pad. I mean a tool so powerful it could literally change the way you make music. Well, today, we're going to look at an app that makes that exact claim.
So this is the big question, right? On one side, you've got the Koala Sampler, this super accessible app, and on the other, the legendary Akai MPC. We're talking dedicated hardware that has defined entire genres of music for decades. It is the classic David vs. Goliath story. So let's find out if the slingshot is actually mighty enough.
All right, so before we can really judge the fight, we kind of need to understand the arena. I mean, what makes a simple app and a big piece of hardware even comparable in the first place? Well, it all comes down to one single core concept.
At their heart, both Koala and the MPC are samplers. And the idea is actually pretty simple. You record any sound in the world, a drum break from an old record, a line from a movie, your own voice, whatever, and you turn it into an instrument, something you can play, chop up, and rearrange to create something completely new. It is the absolute foundation of hip-hop and so many other genres.
Okay, so every great beat starts with a great sound. That means step one is getting those sounds, or samples, into our machine. And right out of the gate, this is where Koala's super modern approach really starts to shine.
Yeah, forget digging through dusty crates for old vinyl records. Koala's workflow is built for right now, for the digital age. You can find literally any video on YouTube, screen record a little piece of it on your phone, and pull that audio right into the app. And believe me, that's where the real magic is just getting started.
And that brings us to Koala's absolute secret weapon, stem separation. Using AI, it can take a fully mixed song and just deconstruct it. I mean, it can pull out just the vocals, or isolate just the drum beat, or grab only the bass line. This is a complete game-changing feature that you won't even find built into most expensive modern hardware.
Just think about the creative power this gives you. You find a song with an amazing bass line, but you want to write your own drums? No problem. You need to grab an Apollo vocal from a track to remix it? Done. This single feature just fundamentally changes what is possible for a producer on the go.
Okay, so we've collected our sounds. Now it's time to actually arrange them into a rhythm to, build the beat. And that all happens inside the sequencer. Think of the sequencer as your musical timeline. It's basically a grid where you can place each of your samples, your kick drum, your snare, your melody, and tell them exactly when to play. This is where your pattern really starts to come to life. But, a beat that's perfectly on the grid can sound, well, robotic and kind of lifeless. The real art is making it feel human, and Koala gives you some pretty powerful tools for this. You can change the velocity, which is just the volume of each hit. You can use chants to create some cool random variation, and you can nudge notes just slightly off the grid to give your beat that natural human swing.
A good loop is one thing, but making it sound like a finished professional track, that takes another layer of polish. This is where we get into things like effects and some more advanced techniques.
Koala has a surprisingly deep mixer with a whole bunch of built-in effects. It is honestly like having a rack of studio gear right in your phone. You can add some gritty digital distortion with a bit crusher, create spacey vintage echoes with a tape delay, or even get that classic pumping sound you hear in dance music using sidechain compression. This is where you really start to shape the character of your track. And for all you advanced users out there, there's resampling. This is a classic production technique where you take your entire beat with all the effects on it and you record it down to a new sample. Then you can chop that up, add more effects, and just keep going, creating these incredibly complex and unique textures that would be impossible to make any other way. So yeah, it's a powerful sketchpad for sure, but what about when you want to get serious? What really bridges the gap between just being a fun app and being a professional tool? So how do you get your music out of Koala and into a bigger project? Well, you can export individual samples or loops, sure, but the real game changer is the Pro integration. You can export your drums as a ready-to-play Ableton drum rack, or, and this is absolutely huge, you can export your entire project as a full Ableton Live set. Every sound on its own track, ready for final mixing on a computer. It's wild.
And I know what some of you are thinking. What about the physical feel of tapping on pads? That's one of the biggest arguments for hardware, that tactile connection. Well, guess what? Koala addresses that, too. It fully supports MIDI mapping, which just means you can plug in an external pad controller and get the best of both worlds.
So we've seen what the app can do. Let's bring it all the way back to our original question and actually look at the hard data. The total cost for the app and all its major add-ons, like the mixer and the advanced features, comes out to around $20. $20! The barrier to entry is pretty much non-existent.
But here is the reality check. The app has to run on something. If you already have a powerful phone or a tablet, you're all set. But if you had to go out and buy a dedicated iPad, and then add a controller, and then an audio interface, well, your total cost could easily start to approach or even go past the price of the standalone MPC One Plus, which has all that stuff built right in. So let's just summarize the final trade-offs. Koala gives you supreme portability and that killer stem separation feature. The MPC, on the other hand, it offers more robust instruments, professional hardware connections, and really helpful tools like automatically detecting a sample's musical key. It basically boils down to this. Koala's cost to get in the game is almost zero, while the MPC is a more significant investment.
So, can a $20 app really compete? The answer is a resounding yes. It's not really about replacing hardware, it's about challenging a philosophy. It forces us to ask what the best instrument really is. Is it the one with the most features packed into a box that sits in your studio, or is it the one that's always in your pocket, ready to capture an idea the exact moment it strikes? Maybe the future of music isn't about having the perfect studio, but about never missing the perfect moment.